Hello everyone, welcome to this course. My name is Myung-gu Kang, Professor of Urban and Regional Planning at the University of Seoul. Today, world is experiencing very rapid and massive urbanization. Interestingly, Seoul also experienced very rapid urbanization last half century, and the Seoul successfully overcome the challenges. So I'd like share the Seoul's experience with you. So at the end of the course, you will learn some basics of urban planning, and you will also earn some practical knowledge to make city a better place. I hope you enjoy this course. In this course, I will talk about the smart and sustainable urban development of Seoul. Seoul development experience, especially for the rapidly expanding cities in the developing world, will be presented. This week, I will introduce what is urban planning and the basics of the Seoul development history. This week, I will show the word urbanization, the pattern, and why we need a sustainable urban planning and why we need a sustainable urban development. So I will talk about what is urban planning and Seoul transformation history and urban pattern of Seoul. Urbanizing world and the challenges. Global urbanization is upsurging. The world is experiencing very massive and rapid urbanization. As you can see, according to the UN statistics, the world population would increase about 2.7 billion people by 2050. But most of the population increase would happen in the developing world, specifically Asia and Africa. And even further, most of the population increase would happen in urban area, mainly because of the economic development and better sanitation, better food, better nutrition. On the other hand, there is a lots of migration from rural to the urban area. So we will see lots of the urban population increase in coming decades. Urbanization definitely leads to development. History has shown that urbanization leads to development. Cities present real opportunities for unleashing the enormous economic potential and increasing energy efficiency and reducing the inequities and creating the sustainable livelihoods for all. Yeah, urbanization is a source rather than simply a byproduct of development. In this graph, you can see the strong relationship between the urbanization rate and the economic development. So if a city or the country is under-urbanized yet, so the country has a big potential to become more developed, more the highly developed the country. And also there is some countries shows highly urbanized, but the potential is fully unleashed yet. So if we make city correct, we will see more better and affluent cities in the future. But lots of issues also. The urbanization raises lots of challenges. The growing cities, especially the rapidly growing cities, face pressing challenges, such as like a high percentage of people living in slums. It's a poverty issues, and expansion and dominance of the informal sectors, inadequate urban basic services, including water, sanitation, energy. So these low quality services lead to the low quality of life. And also there is another problems related to the unplanned and peri-urban expansion. It does problems, which means encroachment of the natural area. And also there is a potential risk of the social and political conflict over the land resources. And there is another problem is high levels of vulnerability to the natural disasters, including the flood, drought, landslide, and earthquake. And the poor mobility issues also need to be solved. So these challenges have to be addressed, and that's why we need urban planning and good governance. I will talk about this later. So these are some challenges. Some pictures shows the urban challenges. The right picture shows the congestion problems in the 1970s, 80s in the Seoul. And the left picture shows pollution issues, the water degradation issues in the Seoul. So the urbanization has a problem with land consumption issues, congestion, pollution, water shortage, waste, garbage. All the issues should be addressed. Also, there is global challenges too. So climate change is the global challenge. Cities cover only the 2% of land of the world. However, the cities hold more than 50% of the population and are responsible for up to, even more than 70% of the greenhouse gas emissions. So you can simply think about the cities is the problem. But as the Johan Kloss, the executive director of the UN Habitat said, cities are responsible for the majority of our harmful greenhouse gases. Yeah, that's true. But they are also places where the greatest efficiencies can be made. This makes it imperative that we understand the form and content of urbanization so that we can reduce our footprint. So this graph shows a strong relationship between the urbanization rate and the carbon emission. So this study shows even the China, India, Thailand, Malaysia, all the countries. As the countries get more urbanized, the carbon emission per capita decrease over the history. So urbanization definitely helps to reduce the carbon emission. And another issue is the land consumption issue, because previously the human settlement, especially the city, the area is small relative to the natural area. So the environmental impact was small. But as the city expands more and more, as more people live in the city, the human settlement expands further and further. So it encroaches further into the natural area, which means we will see lots of the pressure on the natural environmental setting. Especially, this is an example of the land consumption. This is the Accra, Ghana area from 1985 to 2000. So the population has increased from like 1.8 million in the 1985 to 2.7 million in 2000. So the population increased by 50%. But urban land cover increased 13,000 hectares in 1985 to the 33,000 hectares in 2000. So the land cover increased by 153%. So urban land cover grew far faster than its population. So if we overlap the population increase forecast with the land consumption, so we will see the huge influx, huge increase in the urban population, and which lead to a lot of land consumption. So this is one of picture of the suburban area of Brasilia in Brazil. So this kind of the low density, single use urban development is happening all over the world, especially in the developing world. So we need a measure to harness or the limit this kind of the development, or even further, we need to reverse this kind of pattern development. But unfortunately, we observed a decline in the built-up area densities over the history, last 200 years. So almost all the cities, all the countries shows the people use more land per capita, mainly because of the economic growth. As people earn more money, get affluent, they want more space. They want to have more privacy, more freedom. So they tend to consume the more and land. So it's very hard to harness such kind of the sprawl development. The summary is the urbanization definitely leads to the economic and social development. And the urbanization may reduce the climate change, and it helps the sustainable environmental development. But we also need to solve the urbanization issues including the land consumption issues, sprawl issues, pollution issues, congestion issues. And we will talk about how the Seoul solved this kind of problem over the history throughout the discourse.